It's like a full circle. It truly is.
It is.
I was thinking the same thing. I was going to jump in, but Jordy said it.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
I'm sorry. Jordan said it. You'll have to edit that out.
Sir President Jordan.
That's right.
Welcome to another episode of the Amigo CartCast. This one is a fun one.
Oh my gosh. It's fun and scary at the same time.
I don't know. I don't think it was very scary to me or any of our listeners, but it's Halloween spooky season, so maybe.
We're talking to the big bosses here.
Well, sure. We did have to button up a little bit, sit
That's
a little
right.
straighter for this
Straighten up.
conversation, but it's
Suck
a
it
good one.
in. Oh, okay. I guess I got to breathe.
All right, it is one you're not going to want to miss. So we have our president and exiting president and founder. No founders. I'm messing up.
I think
left
we
and
had,
right.
no, I think you're good. I think we had George Washington and, I guess we'll keep it non-political. The new president.
Yes. So good conversation with Beth and Jordan.
Of course
So,
we do.
Without further ado.
You betcha. This is a little different this morning, isn't it, Samantha?
It is. You're going to do the intro.
I'm speaking
And I'm the
first.
sidekick.
Normally you talk first and then I speak.
Mm-hmm. Go.
But you know, it's a pretty gosh darn special podcast.
This is going to be a good one. We have two very special guests today.
Yes, we do. We have a returning guest,
That's correct.
and then we have a newbie. But when I say newbie, that doesn't mean he's new to the company, does it?
Mm-mm.
He's been around a long time.
He's been around probably his entire life.
That could be true.
Yes.
Now, he looks gosh darn young. So he has been around a while.
Mm-hmm.
So without further ado, we're going to introduce the old president and the new president.
And Amigo's new president.
Of
Yes,
course.
we're so excited
Exciting.
to have our two guests here today, Beth Thieme, obviously our CEO and former president at Amigo, and then Jordan Thieme, her son, coming in as new president at CEO.
Those names are the same.
Well, yes. Wow. I think we might touch on that just a little bit
fantastic.
today.
That's
yes,
what I like to do.
absolutely. So welcome. Thank you guys for joining today.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
So I think we would love to hear. So Beth, you have had the pleasure of being on our show with Al, and everybody just loves to hear your story and how inspirational it is. This is a big transition for Amigo, and I would love to hear, and I think our listeners would love to hear, just looking back at your time here and your legacy. There's so much to wrap up, but
50 years.
Well, yes, absolutely.
It's a long time.
It is a long time.
Lots going on.
So I guess I would just love to hear, there's this beautiful video that was put out recently with your anniversary, and so many emotions there, I think, for you and for the company, and just to see really, like I said, your legacy that you're leaving. But you're still here, which is great that you guys get to go through this together and the transition. So how are you feeling with all this? That's a lot.
It is. It's a big change, after working here for 50 years. I started in 1975, and I was a purchasing agent, the only purchasing agent. And when suppliers would come to the company, and they'd say, "We'd like to see your assembly plant," and we'd put on our coats and run across the 4-lane highway, up the driveway, and into a 2-car garage. And that's where we started to build Amigo. And today, we're a 130,000 square foot plant. And so that time in between is filled with great memories, people, disappointments, challenges, but we powered through them, persisted through them, and here we are today. And people were kind of concerned about Al and I going to semi-retirement. And last week somebody came to my office very concerned and said, "How are you guys doing?" We're having the time of our lives. We are okay. No therapy required. But we're starting to really enjoy getting more time together, because although we worked together all those years, we're not in the same office. We don't interact a lot. We see each other at lunch primarily. And so now we're able to develop time outside the office, doing things, seeing people, being on the road, and we're pretty happy with the transition.
That's fantastic. I'm sure there's no rest at all. I'm sure you're finding ways to keep busy, and it's only been a few weeks, right? Been about a month
I think we're on week 6.
I think we're on week 6,
Oh,
yeah.
time
We're
flies
on
when
it.
you're having
That's
fun,
correct.
right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
So what has been the biggest transition for you?
I think it's gone really well and really smoothly. I don't feel much different. We've worked together. I think if it was an external person coming in as president, it would be a lot harder. There would be a transition period. I don't feel like that has occurred because we've worked together. We're continuing to work together. I try not to meddle. I try to point people in his direction, and so far, so good.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to ask Jordan that same question here
Yeah,
in
no
just a
kidding.
minute. But first, Jordan, I would love to hear your history with Amigo. Beth gave a nice little recap. Very short. I mean, 50 years was condensed down really, really short.
I thought there was more than that.
There has been plenty more, but that was a good intro just to give a little bit of background. So I'd love to hear you do a quick intro of your time at Amigo, and then we're going to ask the same question.
Yeah, I started here technically full-time when I was 8. I think I made maybe $1 an hour.
I'm glad you got paid, I guess.
Yeah.
Family business.
Family business, you don't have to. But yeah, so I started in maintenance, and I worked in maintenance up until I was maybe 14. So I cleaned the bathrooms, emptied waste baskets, changed light bulbs, mowed the lawn. We had a lot more lawn, less building back in those days.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So we did that. And then I think when I was around 14, I got promoted to production line. And then I worked production line from that age until I graduated college. And then I had hopped around different positions through the office area, ended up in the operations side. And that's where I really fell in love. And then obviously now I'm president.
So what would you say has been the biggest transition into your new role?
It's not that. It's been pretty smooth. Like, it's hard to say. It has not felt like a big transition. There's definitely a different layer of responsibility now. When I look at it, we have about 140 employees. That's about 140 families that we're responsible for. So the weight of that is a little heavier now, because even leading up to the transition, I could always go to my mom and say, hey, here's what I think I could do, and I'd be super confident, because she still had to make the final call. And now I go, oh, this is on me. Like, I can go to her for advice, but it's still my call. End of the day, the buck stops with me.
So I shared this with Jordan. I was with a supplier a few weeks ago, and they obviously knew of the announcement and was very curious to say, how are things going with Jordan's transition? I said, well, we're just a few weeks in. I haven't noticed any different. So, I mean, that's a big kudos to you and the leadership team to make sure that everyone felt confident in, the transition, and that there wasn't going to be, like Jess said, maybe an external person might want to change things a little too rapidly. I think that Jordan has a very good pulse of what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, and I don't think that we've felt any dire straits.
It seems, just from being around for the last 6 weeks, it seems to be pretty gosh darn smooth at this point. I think that's also trust, right? I mean, Beth, you and Al started the trust, and people have to trust the process and the company, and then handing the baton off to Jordan. I think nobody has questioned that whatsoever.
You asked before about, was there a transition? The first day, we were at home, and we weren't getting up to go to work. And we looked at each other, and I said to Al, I feel a little melancholy. And he said, I do too. And I said, you know what? We're not in the driver's seat anymore. I think that's the hard thing. We've driven this car and this vehicle 50 years, and now we're not. Now we're in the back seat, and the kids are driving, and we go where they want to go. And that's a little bit of a transition, but it really lasted one day, and then we were like,
this feels
okay.
good. Yeah,
And we can
awesome.
afford therapy if we need it.
And don't let them fool you. I swear they're busier now than they were before.
Yeah. We're having fun.
As an employee that's been around a long time, and Beth, we've had this conversation before, when you see people every day, I mean, when you're at work, as long as you are, and you love what you do, it's not really work. But when you see, I think the biggest thing, not that this podcast is about me, but the biggest thing was, I mean, I've seen Al and Beth here for over 30 years. I mean, that's a long time.
Yes.
And when you get used to seeing people, it's kind of different not to see people. And now, nothing wrong with seeing Jordan.
I see how it is, Scott. No,
that's
fine.
no, it's all good. But like I say, and you just assume it's going to just keep going and going, and things have to change at some point.
Yeah. I think what helped too with all of this, both our employees, our associates, and us, was that we went into semi-retirement. So we're still here 3 days a week.
Right.
And then I think if you had said to us, when you give up this role, you're out, and we had to pack up our offices and leave, I would be really struggling. Both of us would be, because this is our baby. But being able to watch the next generation carry on that legacy, it's the perfect mix for us. And we're not so eager to go to 2 days or 1 day. We really enjoy being here the 3 days.
Yeah.
It's great. So, I'm a parent, and I have kids. And if you probably talk to my kids, they'd probably say I want to probably tell them what to do, even though they're 35 to 27. So as a parent, as your company, how do you not try to tell Jordan what to do? Because, he's still your child. At the end, it's a business, but at the end of the day, he's still your child. So how does that mix go together? Because I'm not so sure I'd be good at that.
I think when you walk in the door of a family business, you have to kind of separate family.
Okay.
The underlying thing about family is open, honest communication and respect for each other. So we walk in this building, and I don't treat him like my husband, and I don't treat our kids like our kids. We're all people trying to do the best job possible. So my feeling is, you're not a mother and son, mother and daughter, husband and wife in the business. We're all leadership, we're all people, we're all trying to do the best job possible.
That's good. No, I agree. Like I said, I don't think I'd be very good at that. That's for sure.
I think that, though, even the Jordan speaking to earlier, the early roles that you had of doing maintenance and, cleaning the bathrooms or mowing the lawn and also working production, seeing all areas of the business, that just kind of speaks to that exactly, because you have to know and understand every aspect of a business to be able to run it well and professionally. And I think that kind of, shows to what you just said, Beth, of you have to treat it not only as family, but also this is a business that we're running. So that's fantastic. I can't with this.
So yeah, get better than that. So
I know.
So on the flip side of that, Jordan, you're a child. You're the son.
I am a child.
Thank you. You're the son, and we hear Beth, mom, her opinion with that. So how about you? Is it give you more pressure? Do you feel like because you're family that everybody's looking at you like you gotta succeed, you gotta make it right, you gotta make all the right decisions, which we know not everybody does, but do you feel that? Is that added pressure, I guess?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Think about it. I'm stepping into a business. This isn't like I got hired into some company, and if I screw it up, I can just jump out and go find another business.
Good point.
This is my life. This is my career. And what my parents have built over the last 50 plus years, it's now on me, and obviously the whole team, to now take it to the next level. And if that slips, that's on me.
Right.
So yes, a lot of extra pressure. The grays are coming in hard these days.
I'm not trying to add the pressure either. It's just, it's just that because we've been, Amigo's been successful.
Yeah.
We've grown, like you had said earlier. Beth said we went across the street 4 lanes to see the gosh darn production area, and we got 130,000. It's a big place.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
But I also think, Elle and I have talked about this, that we won't always agree. The next generation's not always going to agree. We're not going to understand where their thought is all the time, or they might think we're stuck in the past. But I think if we have to understand mistakes will be made. And then I sit there and I talk to Elle and I said, let's talk about some of the mistakes we made. And we bring them up over the years and we start laughing and then crying a little bit. We made mistakes.
Right.
It is not going to be foolproof. It's not going to be all perfect. There are bumps in the road. And so whenever he's feeling that, just look in the past, our sales trends, and some of the things we did that weren't, we wish in hindsight we would have chosen maybe something different. That will happen. It's never going to be perfect, and we certainly weren't perfect in running the business either. But you learn the most from the mistakes.
But with that being said, those would be the things that you would maybe say, hey, look out for this to Jordan, right? Because I would think you'd probably try not to make the same mistakes. You know, the old theory, don't make the same mistake twice, right? Well, who knows if you can stop that or not.
Right.
But in certain instances, you can say, hey, we've been there, done it. This is what happened. And, this is how we handled it.
And so far, when there's bigger things, he does come to me and say, what are your thoughts on this? And I think he taps into that history.
Of course. Of course.
I know one thing that has been important with the transition and the legacy is keeping it family owned. So I would love to hear the thoughts for that with Amigo's future and what that looks like.
Yeah. You want to take it?
Okay. Amigo will never be sold. We've never been in it for the money. It would be like selling Al Thieme's child. We could not do it. He created this. His name is identified with this whole industry. And so it will continue as a family-owned business forever. And our children believe that. We're already plotting with that next generation. Our 11-year-old granddaughter comes in once in a while in the summer and works in production and projects around the company because we're just planting a seed. And we have 8 grandchildren right now, so one of them's got it. Maybe 2 end up here so that we continue to carry it on.
Gotcha.
So I guess one thing that I do want to maybe touch on a little bit is just like what goes into preparing. So obviously we've touched on the culture and the atmosphere feels very, very much the same here, which is fantastic. Obviously you two have a good working relationship amongst the leadership team, but sometimes we don't see the behind the scenes transition. So when did you start preparing for this and what did that look like?
So when I took on the role of president in March of 2020,
Great timing, by the way.
Yeah, it was the week before COVID. Yes, and there was no playbook for COVID. Talk about the pressure. That was a tough time. But when I took on this role, I said I would do it for 5 years. And then I felt like, you still want to be alive and active and sharp when you're transitioning to the next generation. You don't want to hang on till the very end, and then there's no continuity in the transition. But so I took it on, I said 5 years, and then as I thought about it, I actually went 5.5 years because I had a date in mind, and it was my 50th anniversary with Amigo. So I started to tell everybody in meetings and let everybody know my last day as president would be August 29th, 2025, my 50th anniversary. And then on September 1st, Jordan would take over. And so I was very clear about that over the years. It gave us plenty of time to talk and plan and decide. Our leadership team was part of the conversations. And I will say, we talk about titles, CEO, president, but we're part of EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. We started using that in June of 2020. And I really give credit to that program helping us navigate tough conversations. There were, you have a lot of strong personalities on the leadership team, and we all are rooting for the same thing, but we have different opinions at different times. And so they talk about, instead of president, CEO, they talk about having a visionary in your company and having an integrator. So the master of visionary in this company is who?
Al
Thieme. Yes. He is the visionary. He has ideas, creative, thinks differently than the rest of us. And then a company needs what's called an integrator. And I took on that role of integrator. I'm the glue. I kind of take some of the ideas, sift through them, and make them work. That's my responsibility. So as we talked about the future of Amigo, who's our visionary? Because you need both in a company. And our visionary is Jennifer Karras, our daughter Jennifer. She thinks a lot like Beth Thieme, very out-of-the-box thinker, very creative. And then Jordan is more like me in that he took on the role of integrator. So we spend more time kind of talking about those roles than our official titles. And that's been good.
I think that's awesome. I think the transparency from the beginning is great too. I didn't know it was March of 2020. That's interesting. And another fun fact was Jordan's very first day of president happened to land on Labor Day.
Yeah, give everyone the day off.
So
No wonder everybody's digging him.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to come in strong.
I will say real quick though, when Beth, and it's amazing, it's been since 2020. That just goes show you how time flies. But I guess I was probably one of those people that said, it's never going to happen. She's never going to do it. And then you did.
Yes.
And then you just went and proved me wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So what would you say has been the hardest part of passing the reins?
I think feeling like that part of your life is over, that you're not in the driver's seat anymore, because I really like driving. Both really in a car, I prefer driving. I like driving. And I like driving the business. It's just fun to see where you can take it.
Yeah.
And now knowing that I'm in the back seat is just different. It's okay.
It's okay. It's the
And I'm
scenic route.
learning to love things outside of Amigo that I've always said, boy, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that. Now I can do it. And then still contribute here.
And Jordan, what would you say has been the hardest part of, I guess, taking on the reins?
Not much. It's been a really smooth transition. I think, again, the biggest thing is knowing that it's my call. At the end of the day, it's my call. Other than that, we've been pretty open, I think, with everyone at least a year leading up to it.
Right.
So the whole team knew what was going on. People were comfortable with it. It's not like I jumped into it and people were too nervous. But I think it's been good. And, my plan is to, especially this first year, keep things just cruising and not, shake things up too much.
So I was actually surprised you didn't say that you have this vision and you want it done faster, because I think
That
that's
is my style.
That is what Jordan says. So I guess can you expand a little bit on, like, obviously we have from EOS, you guys plan out very strategically what the long-term picture looks like, and then break it down all the way like to per quarter what your goals are rocks, right? Every year. So I guess what is your vision over the next 12 months after taking on as president, and then maybe what are your long-term goals as a company?
So the biggest thing is I kind of tell people you're not going to actually notice a lot of the differences when I'm taking over, but you'll feel it. There's definitely a different pace. I'm 50 years younger than my dad, so I'm a little bit more impatient, I think, a lot of the time, which is shocking because my dad's pretty impatient.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah. But, I think the pace will pick up a little bit, but then I really want growth, which we all do, and the timing worked out very well with our EOS. We are just now coming up to when we'd reset our 10-year target. And so my vision for the company, and we'll share this with the rest of the team, is that 10 years, I plan to have the company doubled in size. May or may not happen, but I think it's a good baseline goal to start with. It's about 5 to 7% year-over-year growth, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Okay, perfect. So we've talked a little bit, of course, of the transition, some of the key successes that got you there, and Jordan, you talked just briefly on EOS and what the next 12 to 10 years looks like. No, 12 months, to 10 years with our new 10-year plan that was just put out. So let's look a little even broader than that. What do we see for the next 50, right? Because that's one of our core values, looking at the next 50. So I guess I'm curious, both of you, to see, maybe we should have one leave the room, see what you say, and then have you come back and see how close we are. But what does that future look like, looking to the next 50? So maybe we'll start with Jordan, and then Beth, you can share.
Because it's going to be his 50.
Yeah. No offense, I don't think you're going to be around 50 years from now. I will say my dad is 50 years older than me. So he finally retired at the age of 88. So that means 50 years from now, hopefully I'll be able to retire and I'll be 88.
Perfect.
That's, a good goal, I think. But realistically, I think the biggest thing is we want to stay, obviously family owned, family operated if possible. We want to have involved family members in our business. But the biggest thing is we want to keep our culture. That's really, really important to us. We have a really strong culture in our company, and I would hope that even through the growth that I'm hoping to have, we'll still keep our culture as best we can. You start looking at our growth, we're at about 140 employees. We'll easily be looking at over 200. And, it gets difficult. But I think everyone really wants the growth anyway. So, 50 years from now, hopefully you guys will throw me a retirement party. And, I'll be moving into a retirement home somewhere or something. And, we'll have a much larger company, but still a very strong culture.
No, I love that culture piece. Any insight on how you plan? Because as companies grow, it is harder. You get maybe multiple shifts, or you're expanding just even more square footage. It's hard. You don't see that day-to-day, face-to-face conversations all the time. So, what would be, I guess, currently, what is a key component to our culture that you would like to continue as we grow? Is there one thing, multiple things?
I think one of the biggest thing is, making sure that the leaders of the company are very involved and know their team. Getting around, that's something that my mom has really pushed on me taking over. Make sure you know the people and that you're going around talking with everyone. Like, you have to be part of the team. You're not just sitting in your office telling them what to do. So even as we grow, I want to keep that going. As I would love to keep doing our anniversary lunches. I took those over, and that's a lot of fun. So the once a month, we have people come in for their anniversary. They can ask all sorts of questions. And my parents handed that over to me, and keep doing that. It provides an open forum, and people get to know me a little better.
No, I love that. I think that's awesome. So I guess, Beth, looking to the next 50, what did any surprises there with what Jordan shared?
No, I think he talked about the people on the business side of it. On the product side, Al Thieme founded electric vehicles, really, back before they were known. He just found this need and was on a mission to provide it. And so over the 5 years, I used to think, okay, we are good in healthcare. Now we are good in grocery. I took a step back and said what we're really good at is batteries, motors, wheels, chargers, and controllers. And so that just made the world so much bigger. And so to me, the opportunities are so big. Our world is so big of what we can do at Amigo. And I think if we just keep focusing on that core competency and using it to get into other markets, to move people and product is going to be key to our future success.
Keep that, like you said, those key components, keep that in the back of your mind. We can do anything.
Yes.
I love it.
We tend to look at product as a material thing times cost plus labor, need your margin, whatever. If you can look at product and say, how does it make people feel?
Yeah,
So no
good
matter
point.
what the market is, I've gone into grocery stores and I've talked to people using the Amigo. And I remember one woman said, I can walk, but I'm going through chemotherapy. My energy is zapped. My only time out of the house is to come here and ride this cart and grocery shop. We made her feel a certain way. Industrial. You can say, well, I'm going to do the math for these products and see if it will save me money or whatever. Ask yourself a question. How does it make your people feel? And when you talk to our janitorial guys, instead of walking 10 miles and having sore feet, and they're able to do their job faster, get around faster, how they feel is what's the most important, right? As companies, that's what we should be thinking more about.
Well, I think it goes back to our purpose of the whole company that we share. It's improving lives through mobility.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's why we're here. It's not the bottom line. Obviously, you have to make money. But it's improving lives through mobility. That's what gets us up to push hard and grow every day.
I'm going to tell you right now, that's a great way to probably end this whole thing, isn't it?
I think it is.
Improving lives, it's like a full circle. It truly is. I was thinking the same thing. I was going to jump in, but Jordy said it.
Perfect.
I'm sorry. Jordan said it. You have to edit that out.
Sir President Jordan.
That's right. There's a joke. We talk in the mornings, and he says, "Good morning, Scotty," and I say, "Good morning, Jordy."
Yep.
And I have a son named Jordan as well, who's 35, a little younger than our Jordan here. But yep, it's Jordy. So maybe it needs to be Jordan.
Sir President Jordy.
That's it.
There you go.
I got to figure that out. I got to be better.
Right. Okay.
So this was, I mean, I hate to steal your thunder, but this was we always talk about our podcast being unique, and they've been unique. And I think I saw, this is like the 24th episode. It's amazing. I mean, if we been a TV show, we'd have been canceled a long time ago. But with that being said, this is a pretty neat podcast.
Very inspiring.
Yes.
I feel even if it's not within our Amigo building, just to hear, the transition and how it's going, and some of the community support that you have had, and just to know that we're not in this alone. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
Well, thank you guys both for joining us today. We appreciate your time and, of course, sharing your story with us.
It was fun.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
That was a fun conversation to hear, of course, the future of Amigo and the transition. And for non-Amigo listeners, also just, what that can look like for any business or
Right.
really family-owned specifically.
Family is not only family, but it's also doing work, as we saw in this episode and talking to Beth and Jordan. So
That's right.
it's a challenge, I'm sure.
Well, now, Scott, we can...
Oh, now we can relax a little bit.
Yeah, we can relax.
Yeah. Let's make sure
Slouch
the
a
next
little bit.
let's make sure the next podcast doesn't have such high-profile people.
Okay,
Okay,
we'll work on that.
All right. Well, that's good.
All right, well, we hope you enjoyed, and until next time,
Keep it rolling.
rolling.